So we have some more information of what's coming up for Hell Let Loose, what new patches are coming, what's going to be in those patches, and what plans are for the future. So this Friday, there's going to be a PTE. It's going to be a stress test, but I think really for a PTE, it should be longer than just a day. I'm just going to put that out there. I think they should do it for the whole weekend just to get as much feedback as possible and as much data as possible. I know not too many people will actually play the PTE, especially after the first day, but I think getting out there for as long as possible is probably the best thing to do. So, in the PTE, there's going to be a whole bunch of night and dusk map variants. These are going to be Carentan, San Maria Glees, Utah Beach, Hill 400, Driel, Kharkov, and for dusk, Omaha Beach and El Alamein. So if they want to get a lot of feedback for these maps, they need to have it, the PTE for longer than just a day, right? I think people would agree with me on that. In terms of the release of these maps, Carentan and San Maria Glees will come first, and they will come with patch 14.4 on the 12th of October. And I gotta say, based on the few screenshots we've got, I think playing through these two maps, Carentan and San Maria Glees, we've only got one screenshot for each, it's gonna look pretty tasty. And I think, especially with that night and all the muzzle flashes and stuff, it should look at least so damn good. And I think having like a heavy concentration of urban environment in a night map, it could make it not scary. It's not gonna be scary, but it could make it really tense. It could, right? Just got to play it to see what it's going to be like. But I'm looking forward to these. Part of me did think they were going to stop doing night maps just because we hadn't really heard a lot about them, but I'm glad they're still working on them and still bringing out new ones. Next, we get a look at some new German cosmetics coming. This is a Fallschirmjäger, German paratroopers cosmetics coming out. 2 different uniforms for infantry and recon. They will not be free, they will be purchasable. It says they're going to be in the additional content hub, which is the in-game store, but they do look really good. Next, we have the reintroduction of dive to prone. So it was something that was added into the game with the British, and then it was removed because really it wasn't properly implemented into the game. It could be exploited. I don't think it was really thought out enough to be put into the game. A lot of people didn't want it removed. I think it should have stayed in the game, but they should have tweaked it. And they are bringing it back, and they've tweaked it a lot. So first off, you'll be carrying your momentum throughout the dive to prone. So what this means is that you won't be able to change direction mid-air. You're only going to be able to change direction once you've hit the ground and once they've called friction is established on landing. So you won't be able to immediately hit the ground and spin around. It's going to have a slight delay before you can move, and I think that's good. Next, you cannot dive to prone while in midair, and I think that's okay, but what they've said in a dev brief, and I'll quote it, is players can no longer dive while jumping. Instead, the new animation queue system is used to begin the dive when the player lands from a jump. I don't like that, right? I hate animation queuing. What they should do is just disable it completely, like they already have, not being able to dive while in midair, and then if you press prone while in midair and then you land from the jump, it does nothing. They should just do that. Animation queuing, in my opinion, in playing other games and sports ball games, it's terrible. But we need to see how it plays, but my impressions of this isn't good. Another change is a stance change timer. So when you dive to the ground, you won't be able to immediately crouch or stand back up to dive again. There's going to be a slight cooldown or timer so you can't change, right? That's another good thing, is to prevent people from just sprinting and diving to the ground and quickly getting back up and diving again to go forward really quickly and just diving, well, dolphin diving around. That's a good change. They've also said that the duration and speed of the slide has been tuned down to feel more realistic, and it's also impacted by whether you enter diving from standing or from crouched. They've also changed the camera slightly, and I'm not really sure what the change is here, just they're saying it's going to be better, so fair enough. And the speed of the dive itself will be based on the player's speed at the time they dive, not the potential full speed of what stance they're in. So if you're starting to sprint and you dive immediately, you're going to have a slow dive. But if you dive at a full sprint, you'll have a better dive, or a quicker dive, I guess. So that's another good little change. And another great change is you cannot ADS while you're diving, while you're landing. There's going to be a slight delay until you can properly aim. You need to make full contact with the ground. Another good change there. You're now going to have to make that decision as to whether you want to dive to prone when you see someone, lose that capability to ADS and get a good shot off, or just try an ADS and shoot someone. You know, you could dive to prone in front of someone, but they could just stand there ADS and then taking you out. Got to see how that plays. But all in all, the changes to dive to prone sound really good on paper. I'll let you know what I think about it when I can get my hands on it. Oh, so do you remember like a couple of minutes ago when I was saying they should have a PTE for the whole weekend, not just Friday? Well, yeah, actually a little bit further down in the dev brief, it says that the PTE will be from the Friday the 29th to the 2nd of October, not just on Friday, which is really how it's written, or how I understood it from the beginning of the dev brief. So yeah, it's going to be a full weekend PTE, which is really good. On to patch 14.5, which will come in November. These will bring in the variants that we previously mentioned for El Alamein and Driel. This is Dusk for El Alamein and Night for Driel. And yeah, based on these two screenshots we have, look really nice. I think Dusk is a new time variant. I think there might be some offensive modes that have Dusk or a Dusk-like time, but it looks nice. I'm wondering if a Dusk or a further Night variant for El Alamein will help getting across all that open terrain. Also landing in patch 14.5 will be the first part of the British Forces rework, which will include updated desert uniforms, which we have a sneak peek of here. So finally, we'll be able to get British desert camo with the shorts. It's still boggling that they didn't release the British with this camo. It's so strange to me. And it was even stranger when it came out after the British Forces release that they started showing off like, oh look, now we've started to work on it. Just like, why wasn't it ready? Why didn't you already start working on it before? It was really strange to me. But here we go. First look at the British stuff. It's looking nice. And first look at the German desert camo as well. But not only that, we get a look at the 3D model for the British Stuart Honey Tank, and a look at the Lee Enfield No. 1 Mark III rifle, which will be a new bolt action rifle for the British. Coming along with patch 14.5 will be a new premium cosmetic DLC, if I say this right, that Erbsen Muster Pattern 44 uniform. It's a new German one. It looks pretty good. Yeah, it's early look at it, but I think it looks pretty good. And lastly, with patch 14.5, there is going to be a free weekend in November. They have specifically said they want people to see the part 1 of the British Forces rework. I think it's a mistake doing a free weekend when the first part of the British Forces rework comes out. Do a free weekend when the British Forces have been fully reworked. Don't show someone half your work. You want to show someone your full work, right? If they do another free weekend when the British Forces have been fully reworked, fair enough. But if they're only going to do one, after part 1 is the wrong time to do it, in my opinion. And patch 14.6 for December, Stalingrad and Kharkov night variants are going to come in. Again, I think generally the night maps always look really nice. The screenshot we have for Kharkov, I think that's like a perfectly taken screenshot. Just need to see how it plays. And of course, with all the other patches I've talked about, there will be bug fixes going along with them. One thing I didn't mention, but going into the PTE starting on the 29th, which then should go into patch 14.4, is a fix for the loadout bug, right? If this fix actually fixes the loadout bug, that will be amazing. I think everyone's been affected by the loadout bug. I can't remember how long it's actually been around for, but it's got to be a year or two. So with that bug finally going, and I think the grenade bug has gone as well, that is amazing. And now we get a little message from the devs to say how they're going to update Hell Let Loose going forward and what they're going to focus on. And what they're doing, like what I've gone over now, 3 patches, October, November and December. And I've always said for a very long time that when they get bugs and when they get fixes for bugs, just get those patches out, right? Get them out, get the bugs fixed. And that's what they're going to be sort of doing going forward. They're going to be continuing to release more patches instead of updates. The patches are going to focus on improving the game, community requested stuff, bug fixes, smaller pieces of content such as map variants. And the main thing there really, bug fixes. If they can get patches out every month fixing bugs, that is awesome news, right? Instead of having to wait a number of months for a major update to get bug fixes, right? Having to wait a month is, well, it's much better, right? So that change in direction from how Black Matter did it is really awesome. And then the updates that we'll be getting, like the big updates, will be content focused, and of course there's going to be bug fixes and stuff in there, but those will be focused mainly around getting content out. It's going to feel like Hell Let Loose, its health, you could say, will be in a lot better state because it's going to be getting more and more patches, fixing it up and improving it, ready for the big content updates. Instead of waiting months to get something, we'll be getting something every month, even if it's just like little bits of content, like I said, map variants. The main thing will be those bug fixes and health improvements. That is such a good change that Team 17 and Cover 6 have made. And then lastly, in the dev brief, we have the TAW campaign, the Battle for Normandy. This is a community-ran campaign mode, essentially. If you remember, a while ago, a campaign mode was meant to come to the game. If you haven't heard about it for ages, I think the campaign mode has been scrapped, to be honest. And what this campaign mode from TAW is pretty much what I would think the official campaign mode was going to be. Something like Rise and Storm 2 Vietnam. So in this campaign, maps are treated as sectors, and when a map is captured, this gives a team supply points, and with these points they can get new weapons, equipment and commander stuff to be used in further maps. Now, you can't code this stuff into the game. The devs might be able to, but of course TAW can't. So it's going to rely a lot on the community following certain rules, I guess, they have for each battle. And I'm going to try and get into this campaign myself. I just need to make sure I'm free for when it is. If you want to get into it, it's on Sundays at 7:45 British Standard Time. No, not British Standard. Is it British Standard or British Summer Time? BST, right? 1945 BST, but I'm pretty sure the English clocks are going to change soon, so that will change time again based on where you are in the world. But go to their website, taw.net, for more information. I hope to get into the campaign and make a video on it for you guys. They also have a Discord, which I will link in the description and the pinned comment if I remember to, along with their website. So I think Hell Let Loose is moving in a good direction. If the loadout bug is fixed, that'll be 2 major long-running bugs fixed, as well as just generally getting loads of other bugs fixed, which is great. Getting monthly patches is great. The British forces getting reworked again is great. And I really want to see what the next major content is going to be. Hell Let Loose is moving in a good direction, and if it can stay the course, I think it should draw back a lot more players into the game and hopefully get more people coming in. So if you liked the video, give it a like, dislike if you didn't, subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.